بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم أما بعد. This is hadith number 254 from al-Adab al-Mufrad by Imam al-Bukhari rahimahullah. عن أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه قال: خرج النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم على رهط من أصحابه يضحكون ويتحدثون فقال: والذي نفسي بيده لو تعلمون ما أعلم لضحكتم قليلا ولبكيتم كثيرا. ثم انصرف وأبكى القوم وأوحى الله عز وجل إليه: يا محمد لم تقنط عبادي، يا محمد لم تقنط عبادي. فرجع النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم فقال: أبشروا وسددوا وقاربوا. صحيح. Abu Hurayra radiallahu anhu, he said that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he went out to a group of his companions who were talking and laughing. He said, by him who holds in whose hand is my soul, if you knew what I knew, you would laugh little and you would cry much. He left them then, and the group started crying and they were in tears. Then Allah, the Mighty and Exalted, He revealed to him, O Muhammad, why did you make my slaves despair? The Prophet ﷺ, he went back and told them, receive the good news, follow the right path, and try to reach to that if you can't exactly attain that, and choose the middle way between going to excess and falling in or falling too short. Okay, so the Prophet ﷺ, he went back to them and he said, Abshiru, have the glad tidings, and saddidu, and I will explain what saddidu means. Waqaribu, and I will also explain what qaribu is. So here the Prophet ﷺ, he goes to the Sahabah who are trying to have a good time. What are they doing? They're talking and they're laughing. So the Prophet ﷺ, he goes. He said, وَالَّذِي نَفْسِي بِيَدِهِ, I swear by the one in whose hand is my life. لَوْ تَعْلَمُونَ مَا أَعْلَمُ, if you knew what I knew. What does that mean? It means if you knew the severity of the punishment of Allah and His strict questioning, in which on the Day of Judgment He's going to expose all of these secrets. If you knew the reality of all of this the way I know it, then you are not going to be laughing like this. You're going to laugh little and you're going to cry so much. And so he left them. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He told Jibreel, go down to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Why did you make them despair? Why did you talk to them like in such a summarized version? Why your short, how long does it take? Maybe 5 seconds, 10 seconds? Your short, your summarized advice made them now despair. And that is more harmful than what they were doing. It is more harmful than the ghafla, the heedlessness. Look, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He is teaching the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam how to do the da'wah. Basically what Allah is saying, that you need to go back and you need to give them encouraging words as well. Because you have left them in such a state as if they are thinking to themselves, we are praying, we're going in jihad, we're doing this and we're doing this and we're doing this. So now that is still not good enough. So they The fear is that they will become hopeless in the mercy, in the reward of Allah. And that is more dangerous than the person who is ghafil, who is heedless, because there's a chance that he will come back. That he's heedless, and he says, Allah Ghafoor, Allah Rahim. But the person who despairs, he says, no matter what I do, Allah is not going to forgive me. No matter what I do, Allah is not going to have mercy upon me. This is worse, because then he's not motivated anymore. So it is as if Allah, He's telling through Jibreel to the Prophet ﷺ that this is more harmful than the person who is heedless, if we were to describe them as being heedless, because they weren't making dhikr, they were laughing and joking, and they were talking. And so falling into despair is worse than what they were doing. So you must go and explain to them, so that way to remove the despair. And so the Prophet ﷺ, he goes back and he says, Abshiru. What's Abshiru? Have the good tidings. Good news. Good news of what? That your Lord, Allah, He is pleased with the little you are doing. You give Him the little and He will give you plenty. This is what Abshiru means. Meaning whatever little that you are doing, you may think it's a lot, but it is little. You cry a little. You give a little bit sadaqah. But Allah will give you and compensate you plentiful. So do not be negligent, thinking this is only a small good deed. Allah, He's not going to reward me. And your heedlessness, do not think that if there is something, which is magnificent, which is a lot, you're going to actually despair of doing such a huge act of good deed, and then you will say, you know what, I can't do it. It's a lose-lose situation if a person starts thinking like that. So the Prophet ﷺ, he closed that door. Abshiru. Have the glad tidings. The little you do, Allah, He's going to go ahead and give you so much. And then the Prophet ﷺ, he's also saying, Saddidu. What does Saddidu mean? Saddidu, it means to follow exactly what Allah tells you and what the Prophet ﷺ, he tells you to do. Follow completely and precisely. But if you can't do it, qaribu, come close to it. This is what saddidu and qaribu means. That if you are unable to do it exactly like how the Prophet ﷺ did, then qaribu, go ahead and try to do as much as you can. Another explanation is that what it means, saddidu and qaribu, don't go to the two extremes. What does qaribu mean? Do not go to the two extremes. What are the two extremes? Either being very lax or either being very extreme. You are extreme when it comes to wudu. You want to go ahead and make wudu so much, even under your nails, you want to go ahead and wash it. And you keep on pulling your nails until water goes there. And if you have a beard, you want to do khalal in between your beard to the point where now you don't have a beard anymore because you pulled out all the hairs. You want to wash your feet so much that now your feet starts to crack because of how much water you're putting on there. And I have seen it. This is called scrupulosity in religious psychology. It's Islamic psychology. This word waswasa, they have a name for it in psychology. Scrupulosity. Look it up. And we call it waswasa. And this is affecting our shabab and those who are new in the religion. They just accepted Islam, so they want to go ahead and pray perfect, which is good. But don't go to the extreme. Don't go to the extreme where you take 1 hour just making ghusl. You take 5 minutes just making wudu. You are praying your salah, Allahu Akbar, and you're reciting Surah Fatiha 2, 3, 5 times because you want to perfect it. No, qaribu, saddidu, do it exactly like the Prophet ﷺ. You cannot, qaribu. Do it as much as you can. Come close to it. Don't go into the two extremes. And don't also be so lax, carefree. Your clothes, you don't know whether, your clothes is dirty or not. Whereas the other person, he looks at it in the light to see if there's any najasa on it. Any water, let's say he's going and then from the rooftop some water falls. Immediately his mind goes, what if there was a pigeon or a cat who pooped on the roof, and the water that came on the roof from the rain, now it came on me. And then he will go and take a shower and he will change his clothes. Waswasa. But also don't be like, now you're not taking care of yourself when you're using the bathroom, istinja, your clothes, your urination comes here and there, you're careless. The two extremes, no. Take care of yourself as much as you can. And any drops that you don't know of is actually ma'afuun. You think the Sahabah, when they were using the bathroom, that nothing came back splattered on them? Of course, this is called ma'afuun. But they didn't do it on purpose and they didn't know it. If they saw the effects of it on themselves, they will remove it. If they didn't, Allah forgives them. If it comes on your clothes but you don't know it, Allah still accepts your salah, your wudu. This is a trick of shaitan. He knows I cannot tell this young guy, stop praying. Or this young, practicing, new sister, don't wear, don't do this. Stop wearing the hijab. No. They will go ahead and, so shaitan, did I tell you shaitan, he has PhD in tricknology? Huh? I mentioned this before? Okay. He has PhD in tricknology. Through the religion of Islam, he's going to make you leave practicing the religion. So, how? By making it difficult upon you. So a person, he gives up making wudu. A person, he gives up praying salah because he prayed so much and he was harsh on himself. A sister went to the extremes in terms of her practice of the religion, and now she's heartbroken, she's burnt out, whatever. Saddidu, qaribu. Do it exactly like the Prophet ﷺ. You can't? Qaribu. Come qareeb. Come close to it. Don't be so lax and don't be don't be so extreme, which now it's going to lead you to boredom, and then you will become the other extreme. If you are extreme here, it's going to take you to the other extreme. And we have seen it. Some people who are very extreme in this, and then all of a sudden they went to the other extreme. And we mentioned not even, Abdullah ibn Amr, famous Sahabi, Abid, young guy. He said, I can fast more. Please let me. The Prophet said, fast 3 days. He said, no, I want to fast more. He said, Monday too. He said, no, I want to do it more. He said, okay, every other day. He kept on asking for more and more and more. And even the Quran, the reading of the Quran and praying at night, he kept on. He said, I can do more. You know what happened? When he got old, he couldn't do it anymore. He said, I wish I took the advice of the Prophet ﷺ. I wish. Because now his body can't take it. And we will cover another hadith next week in which the Prophet ﷺ tells us what the religion of Islam actually does to an individual if he goes to extreme. We will mention that hadith inshaAllah next week in Riyadh al-Salihin. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us firm upon His obedience, upon His religion, upon the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the understanding of this hadith and make us His righteous slaves. Subhanakallahumma bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.